Okay, let's see if you can hear me. Be nice if you can all hear me, and we'll just put it in the comments if you can. Fantastic, Pat. Okay, we'll wait a bit to allow a few more people to come on, and then we will get started. Okay, thank you so much, everybody, for coming along and moving across to this one. It's very kind of you. I will explain everything in a little while. Good, good. Thank you so much for coming along, everybody. It's very kind of you. Okay, so let's get started then. First of all, today is Thursday, 20th of March. Hope everyone's having a great day wherever you are. And big apologies for the audio on YouTube. I have zero idea why it is not working on YouTube. As you can see, works absolutely fine on StreamYard. When I'm recording on my computer, works absolutely fine. It just seems to be when I am doing the stream on YouTube. When I was on Monday with Andy Burks and Gina Lever, no problem at all there either. So apologies, I'll had to try my best, but if not, worst comes to worst, I can do it on StreamYard here on StreamYard, and I can do it directly to there. So it's not major deal, and apologies for that. So let's bring you up to date. As far as the OES is concerned, nothing new there. Obviously, we are waiting to hear from our CEO, Ashmi Farah. That's where the information is going to be given. Okay, either that or through Marty and Chris. But my guess is he started to use the pop-up now, and I think that's probably where we're going to get the information from, in all honesty, moving forward. Now, obviously, I am certainly concentrating at the moment a little bit more on the pop-up and what that kind of means from us, and I'm going to use that this week. Obviously, tomorrow, Friday, that is what we're going to use for Q&A session. So come along tomorrow if you've got any questions that you want answering. I will do my very best to answer them openly, honestly, and just come along. You can either contact me on redfern1@gmail.com, or you can get hold of me on Messenger. Send your questions through there, and I will try and read them out as well. But today's topic is evolving versus changing, and this is off the back of our CEO, from what he was been telling us in that pop-up about how changes are necessary for us to be moving forward in ONPASSIVE and for that next phase. So I was doing a little bit of research about what does actually changing mean. Is it something, is it just to business or to people and all the rest of it? And up popped the difference between evolving versus changing. Is it the same? Is one different to the other? So let's just have a little bit of look at that, okay, and see what we all think. And I've got a couple of quotes as well by various people, and we'll go over those. And it really is quite interesting, actually, the more I started looking into this, really about how an awful lot of this makes sense in one way and is a little bit confusing in another way, because changing is very difficult for a lot of people. People like their comfort zone, I suppose, and moving out of that comfort zone really is, for a lot of people, very scary. It's feels alien. They're not happy with it. And what we're trying to do here with talking about it and letting you guys know that there is going to be a change in ONPASSIVE. And I've had a couple of people reaching out to me saying, I joined ONPASSIVE because I was told I don't have to market, and I joined ONPASSIVE because I was told that it's going to be completely automated, and I joined, all these kinds of questions. And they are fair enough questions, but if we are going to move forward, if we are going to literally survive out there in the business world, changes have to be made. And what was true 6.5 years ago, going on 7, and by the way, it's 7 years this year. Okay, guys, I've been having people saying, I've been waiting 8 years. No, it's 7 years in June. Okay, remember our CEO said that it was June of 18 when it first started. And obviously that is 7 years. But I've had people saying, this is why I joined ONPASSIVE. Well, that's absolutely fine. And we know that you did join because you wanted a hands-free, don't have to do anything, company's doing everything, business for you. A lot's changed. Okay, a lot of water's gone under that bridge. I hope you can still hear me okay. My headphones have died now, but you should be able to hear me all right through the computer. You can just put that in. If you can hear me, that'll be great, and I can carry on. Okay, thank you, Sandra. That was true 6.5 years ago, but I really do believe that moving forward, there is going to be changes. What those are, I don't know. Let's not speculate what they're going to be. There's no point in saying, I joined because I can't market. No one's saying you're going to have to market. Okay, let's wait and see what it is before we start running around like headless chickens going, oh my God, the sky's falling in, I can't do this. This brings me nicely back into evolving versus changing, why it is important for us to know the difference and important for us to also understand why. So let's just go over to what it says about evolving versus changing. And it says here in the AI overview on Google, it says, while change is a broad term referring to any alteration, evolve specifies significance of gradual, often positive development or change over time, particularly in biological or cultural context. It all goes on to say as well, here's a more detailed breakdown. Change general definition means to make something different or to replace something with something else. Examples of that: the weather changed dramatically, she decided to change her career path, the company implemented new system to change its operation. See where I'm going with this? That is change. Okay, that is when something happens or there is a need to change something because of implications, because of something that's happened. A change is needed. Okay, because if you don't change, then the status quo is still the same. And guess what? you're going to get the same results. So having a change is generally a positive thing. Not all the time, by the way, but on a general basis, change is a good thing. It also goes on to say about what evolve is. Okay. Evolve definition means to develop gradually, often in a positive or beneficial direction, or to make something develop gradually. Examples of that is the company's strategy evolved over time, human society has evolved significantly, and the software has evolved to include new features. So eventually, evolution typically applies a more gradual, ongoing process of development, often with a sense of progress and adaptation. Again, see where I'm going with this. Things can evolve over a period of time gradually. You can implement new changes to help that evolution of what is going on. But a change tends to be a drastical need to do it right now thing rather than evolving. Now, let me just take you back to evolving on a personal level. And one of the things that I liked about this was evolving implies a gradual process, whereas change can be sudden or gradual. Okay. There was a lady, and I am going to read it out, and it was the person who actually designed this header for this YouTube. Her name is Michelle. Okay, and I'm just going to read this out as it's written down. It's not very long, but it struck a bit of a chord with me, because I really do believe that so many people in ONPASSIVE will resonate with what she said, because I saw a little bit of me, of my evolution on the ONPASSIVE journey. Have I changed? Yeah, I have changed, but I've evolved more than I've changed. And what she's saying here really did resonate with me. So this is her talking, not me. Okay. How many of us, as we approach the end of year, feel that there is something in our lives that we would like to change? We tend to crave change in the self-help world right now, don't we? That's why we read blogs, books, and go on retreats. We want to live a life of our dreams, and we want it right now. I was recently thinking about change and the energy behind that word, and how it feels to constantly want to change something about yourself or your life. For the longest time, I strived for change. I worked hard to change things about myself so that I could fit into the ideal that I held for myself. This kind of thinking led to obsessive tendencies, dwelling on aspects of myself that I thought were not good enough. This led to judgmental comparisons, jealousy, insecurities, and the list goes on. She goes on to say, what I have discovered is that the word change implies that there is something wrong with the person you are right now. And that simply is not true. In spending time with this word change, I've decided to change my vocabulary. When it comes to myself and my own personal growth, in this week's blog, I encourage you to consider doing the same. I have learned to accept and love where I am, who I am, and in this very moment, because I'm perfect and so are you. Of course, we want to grow and we want to expand and become the best possible person that we can be. If we can accept that right now, we are exactly where we are supposed to be, and naturally, with ease, begin a process. This to me is evolution. You have been reading my blogs for quite some time now, so much love and gratitude to you. You know how important I think words and thoughts are, so it makes sense that I believe it matters how we frame this concept of the word change in our minds. I now focus on how I'm evolving day by day. Evolving implies that you strive to be the best self in every moment,
but you do not have judgments or even goals on how you should act, feel, or be of the same. Or for me, I have the highest ideal for my life, and I focus on evolving step by step, action by action, moment by moment, rather than placing my attitude on the idea that I need to change. This makes me feel more authentic and more loving the way I need to live my life. I read that out because a lot of what she was talking about resonated with me. I thought that I needed to change to fit in, to fit into the ONPASSIVE community, to fit in to being a certain person in front of a screen, to fit into all sorts of things. And then I started learning very quickly and very early on that I'm me, and this is my character, and this is my strong point. Have I evolved over my 6.5 years in ONPASSIVE? Have I changed in my 6.5 years of ONPASSIVE? Absolutely. All of those things. But I certainly feel more like it's not a change. It's more of a evolution, a process of where I was to where I am now. Let's turn this around to you guys out there. I'm sure if you are honest with yourselves, you will all look at yourselves and think, I've changed over the 6.5 years. Of course we have. It's 6 years down the line. We're a lot older, a lot wiser. We know a little bit more about our company. We know things that we didn't know before. And obviously we have changed. But I think even more so than change, I think that we have evolved. The community of ONPASSIVE has certainly evolved. It was never this tight-knit core of people when we were before the launch 2 years ago. We were never this tight, were we, as a community? That now has evolved into where we are today. Is that a bad thing? I don't think so. I think it's a very good thing. I think that we have helped enormously to steer the ship and the path of ONPASSIVE into the right place. I really do believe that without the community and that base that we have within ONPASSIVE, there might not even have been a next phase. Who knows? I don't know. But certainly, it's certainly given our CEO an awful lot of encouragement to keep going because of our community spirit that we have. That's our evolution. It's made us better people. It's helped us to stay the course, talk about this all the time. But I also do believe that even though we have evolved to where we are now, we've also changed. Certainly so in ONPASSIVE as a business. It has had to change, because if we hadn't have changed, nothing changes. And we certainly don't want to go back to what happened and the pitfalls that were within it again. So change has to be made. For me, this is all part of the evolution of ONPASSIVE, to make that change so that we evolve, we grow. As Narelle, thank you so much for your super stickers, very, very kind. And to, by the way, to Vivine Benny as well, thank you for your super sticker early on. We are, as Narelle says, growing into a purpose. That's how we evolve, through that evolution of our lives. It all depends on how you perceive it. It all depends on whether you're comfortable in your own skin. It all depends on, are you happy to go that extra, to do that extra? That is part of your evolving journey of ONPASSIVE. That is what makes your ONPASSIVE book, your memoirs of ONPASSIVE, or whatever you want to call it, so much more interesting, because you can look back and you can define certain times and moments within your journey. This is part of the evolution of your ONPASSIVE journey. So to summarize, what do I think is the difference, the biggest difference between change and evolution? I certainly think that change is a constant part of life, leadership and organizational management. I also do believe that evolution is something that happens in a more serene steps of the way, a lot more less harsh, I suppose. Things evolve as they're going along. But is change a necessary evil? Is it something that has to be made? Absolutely. I certainly firmly believe that if you don't change, you die. How many businesses do we know who hadn't changed when they should have done? I gave the example of two that I knew really well, which was Blockbuster and Nokia. They had basically the world at their feet with their market share. Domino's and Blockbuster were a Saturday night in. Used to go down the shop, order your pizza, pick up your Blockbuster, go back home and watch a movie. But they never changed. Did they evolve? Yeah, they certainly evolved. You probably remember what their stores changed, didn't they, internally, and all the rest of it. You know, that's part of the evolution of their business. But what they didn't do was change. When technology started changing, when new things started coming about, they were very steadfast in, no, this is our business model. We're going to stick with it. We know the customers love it. And this is what we are. Guess what happened? Hello, Netflix. Okay, the digital world took it over. Exactly the same, you can say, happened with Nokia. Nokia were by far the market leaders in their mobile phones. I used to love playing Snake on Nokia. Fantastic. My battery lasted for about a month on one charge. It was bulletproof. Never ever. Nokias were the absolute daddy of the mobile phone. Motorola, they were very good, but they certainly weren't as indestructible as a Nokia was. What happened? Internet got better. We got touch screens. Remember, it started off with a pen, then it started off with a finger, and they never kept up with tech and reintroducing new phones. And of course, everybody went to Androids, everybody went to iPhones, and literally they were history. This is why change is needed. This is why, regardless on your business model, if you don't embrace new technologies, if you don't embrace change of society, change in the world, change in opportunity, change in technology, change in every aspect of your business model, then you are going to die in the water. We've got the perfect opportunity now, because we suspended operations, to come back with the right change to really show the world what we have to offer. This is going to be part of the story of the evolution of ONPASSIVE. Marty and Chris did a bit of a series on companies that have changed, okay, over their period of time, and they're big companies. It's amazing that without them changing, would they still be around? Another one, I'm looking at the screen now. I've got my tabs open. One of them says Google, my search engine. How many people here used Ask Jeeves? I did in the UK. I thought it was brilliant, Ask Jeeves. But did they keep up with technology and how the search engine operation all worked? No, they didn't. And it all went basically to pot. There was many search engines, wasn't there? And everybody uses maybe a couple now. In fact, a lot of people use YouTube as one of their search engines. So to summarize, evolution versus changing. For me, I personally believe we evolve, but change is necessary. Something for you all to ponder around. Have you changed or have you evolved? Anyway, guys, that's it from me today. Back around tomorrow. Okay, Q&A. Come along with your questions. I'll do it again here on StreamYard so that it'll be streamed and you can all hear me. That'll be nice. So we don't have to have the rest of this week on me doing recordings. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. Speak to you all very, very soon. It's been lovely spending some time with you. I hope it's been of interest. I hope it's been of value, but certainly something for you to ponder, to think about. And I certainly believe that I've evolved, but also changed. That's it from me. Bye for now.